You think he will lose to you?
Yeah, of course, because I already broke him once. He can't handle the intensity.
If you're gonna trash talk world number one, Magnus Carlsen, you cannot turn up in game 3 of the Speed Chess Championship semi-final and get absolutely smashed into next year. That is what happened in 25 moves, culminating in a double brilliancy. GM Hans Niemann with the black pieces on the receiving end. Chess brutality at its finest here. What does Magnus do? He kicks off with the English in Paris, Norwegian born, company management, proud of his diversity there, and now we see these ponies popping out into the centre. They're playing online, but they're opposite each other in the room. It's a moment in history after the Sinkfield Cup. E6 is now played. Magnus builds the old banana hammock. Hans takes the centre. The bishop Brian cheddars, bishop e7, and Magnus now castles. Look at his coach, Peter Heine Nielsen, proud as punch of his boy Magnus, getting the king to safety on move 5. Now we see castles from Hans. His coach also super proud. Friend, life mentor, all-round good guy, cheating catcher. Now we see d3 from Magnus, not d4, the mainline Catalan. Magnus has gone deep on those lines with his good friend Alan, a chess-playing cat who invented the opening. But we don't see it this game. Bit offbeat. Hans should now push p on the c-file, but he pushes there on the queen side, on the edge, alpha 0 styley, and Magnus just carries on the development. Hans goes for this structure, setting at one of his own Eiffel Towers in reference to playing in Paris, but Magnus, not to be outdone on the pawn structure, fights right back with the overpowered camel toe pawn formation. Deadly attacking weapon. Now we see pony to a6 and e5 from Magnus, driving back this one, spearheading the white attack. The king not feeling safe, getting a bit drafty. What does Magnus do? Classic attacking move in the King's Indian attack. Sometimes this knight even switches back here. So many natural attacking ideas. Hans, in response, goes pawn to b6, fighting back with the bathtub, but this is no time for scented candles, rubber duckies. You need something more proactive. Magnus goes rook e1, covering e5, preparing to hop, bishop b7, and now we see takes. Pawn recaptures, and Magnus locks down the centre. Look at this. It's a Le Francais opening gone bad for black here. The bishops are dead. All the minor pieces stuck in the mud like miserable children. Magnus has got a free hand. Hans desperately trying this bishop c6 stuff. He's already strategically busted. Look at the bar rising here. Stock crab loving it. Now we see knight g5 and how the little piggies will grunt when they hear how the old boar suffered. Look at them rising in the attack there. If you go pawn to h6, well, the knight, it's just dropping back. It's recycling to f4. h5, there's a new target here for the bishop. The queen is streaming out. The attack plays itself. So h6 not played. Hans pushes p over here, and Magnus just carries on with the flow of the pieces, moving that one with a whoosh. He's way up on time, nearly 2 minutes. Still you can go h6, but the knight's dropping back. Mate is threatened, and so Hans reluctantly gives up his bishop pair. Magnus recaptures, and look at that. Is this a dagger which I see before me? Thinks Hans is Lady Macbeth. She makes haste to the light squared here, getting out of the attack, and now everyone in the audience is begging for a move of f6 to be played, just so we can see this image of Hans Feingold. But it doesn't come on the board. Magnus sees the idea here that Hans wants to trade the queens, so he drops back to g4. The femme fatale eyeballing that naked monarch, or soon to be. Again, the audience screaming for the f-pawn to be pushed just so we can see en passant in Paris. Can you imagine? Absolute scenes. But it doesn't happen. Instead, we see the king sidestepping, and now bishop f1 to d3. Very natural attacking idea. But Magnus finds an even stronger rook ac1, the cannon blasting on the unprotected bishop. So Hans goes knight b6, opens the queen's defense, and look at that trio of pieces way off in Siberia here. Miserable, useless, like the trio of farmers in Fantastic Mr. Fox, Boggis Bunsen Bean, and here comes Fantastic Mr. Fox himself, rotating round to the king side here. This is why Magnus practices. This is why he does the visualization camps in Oslo for moments like this.
Mushrooms.
Look at the horseplay. It's incredible. Hans threatening knight d3. Magnus sally forth. Covers. You can now take on a2, which Hans does, hitting that rook here, and Magnus just ignores it, throws more fuel on the fire. How about that for a tour de horse? Started on c3. Look at the king side here, just collapsing. If you take, it's now mate in 4. Can you find it? If I give you 10 million seconds. So the way to carry on here is not actually with crashing through, but with this move of bishop f6, and the mate's unavoidable. Now you can start chucking with a check just to give pieces, but if you take here, well, this is a checkmate. If you don't do anything, if you go g6, how many of us ever done this when we're playing online chess? Yes, that's an illegal move. What else to try? If you cover with the rook, well, then you crash through like this. Again, it's leading to a checkmate. So these are the kind of problems. That's why Hans reacts. He goes rook g8 already, but what does Magnus do? Well, you can immediately take. Great move. The bishop's following up, right? Whoops, not like a knight, like a bishop. But instead we see the move, more brilliancy, back to pack. It gets the exclamation marks, knight f6, forking queen and rook. We don't see captures, but if you do, this is the follow-up here, check, rook blocks, and now you're delivering a checkmate. So instead, the queen slides over, away from this attack here, adding some defense here. You can now immediately take. Really nice idea. If captures, that's actually a checkmate. But instead of doing that immediately, Magnus does this. Also good. If h6 to block, not played, well then you switch your attention over here. I mean, it's all just absolutely collapsing, and this move here of rook c7, bit of a killer. How would you actually defend that point? If rook g7, the problem is you cut the connection here. These are some sample lines. It's chess brutality. So Hans goes for this, takes on f6. We see recaptures with check. Rook g7. Magnus crashes through. The knight saves itself, and this is the worst part. White is attacking and hasn't even sacrificed material. Rook c7 once again. Deadly threat because this rook is pinned. We won't keep going on the attack here because Hans just resigns in the face of absolute domination. 25 move crush. And if you want to see another incredible game from this same match between them, grudge match, have a look at the epic video on screen. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers.